Hi, welcome to the 4th episode of the New England Gal Knits podcast. I am Janet, and I live in Massachusetts with my husband, our 2 boys, our cat, and our dog. You can find me on Ravelry and Instagram at the New England Gal. If you're a returning viewer, welcome back, and if you're a new viewer, welcome. I hope you enjoy the podcast. So today is Sunday, November 5th, and it's actually the last day of the New England Fibre Festival, which is held out in Springfield at the Big E. And I was lucky enough, I was able to go out there this morning and spend a couple hours there, and I have a little bit of goodies to show you. So I do have to admit that the majority of this, my mother-in-law had given me some Christmas money and said to pick out a few things there for her to give to me for Christmas, so I did just that, and I did indulge in a couple other things as well, so I will share those later on. So anyways, for works in progress, if you haven't noticed, I do already have one and I'm wearing it. I actually have 2 finished objects this week. So this is the Veronika by Shannon Cook, and I did knit this out of Patons worsted in the dark gray marled colorway. I love the way this came out. It fits perfectly. It is soft, it's cozy, it's nice to wrap up in and warm. I wore this on Halloween with this black t-shirt actually. And it was probably about 45 degrees out, and I was very comfortable in just this. It did keep me nice and toasty while we were out there trick-or-treating. So this is my first finished object. And then my second finished object I have done a few weeks earlier. So this is my Angelina pullover. And this is by Benedetto, and this was a pattern out of the Fall 2017 Interweaves magazine. So I knit this for Thanksgiving. So I am so glad I have it done. It's ready to go and blocked. Ends are all woven in. I hate weaving in ends. Anyone else have problems weaving in ends or knowing whether or not you're doing it right? So as I mentioned in my first podcast, I'm a self-taught knitter off of YouTube, and I never know if I'm weaving in ends correctly. I do the best I can, but it's probably my least favorite part of knitting is weaving in the ends, but they're all woven in, and this has the rounded hem, and I'm very happy it was curling the last time I showed it, but I'm very glad I blocked out, and it blocked out straight, and it's no longer curling. And the sleeves are all done, and it's so funny. I'm looking at the sleeves, and they're both the same length. My grandmother, she only knit a few things. She was more of a quilter than a knitter, but she did try knitting a sweater one time, and one sleeve was about 2 inches longer than the other by the time she blocked the garment, and she has no idea what happened. So it used to be a running joke between the 2 of us that my sleeves were always even. So every time I look at one of the sweaters I knit, I just look at the sleeves. It makes me think of her. But this is all done and ready to go for Thanksgiving, and I can't wait. Thanksgiving is 2 weeks away. It's coming up fast. I have to admit, hands down, Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday. It's the start of the holiday season, so you still have that anticipation in the air that Christmas is right around the corner. Yet with Thanksgiving, it's just about getting together with family and eating good food and just relaxing. There's no, did I mail this card out to this person? There's all that pressure of Christmas that you just don't have with Thanksgiving. It's just about company and enjoying each other and good food. And I do love it. And also, again, it's the start of the anticipation of Christmas. I love the month coming up to Christmas, and then Christmas comes and goes, and it goes so fast, and once it's over, and it may be because I host Christmas that I'm just so busy I don't get to sit down and really enjoy the day. So the day just flies by, and at the end it's like, that was it. Anyways, I think that's enough of my rambling about the holidays, but I'm excited for Thanksgiving. It's right around the corner and I can't wait. So I'm looking at all of my works in progress that are laying out in front of me. I have to say, over the past 2 weeks, may have had a bit of cast-on-itis. I started quite a few projects and none of them huge. There's a sweater waiting in the background that I want to knit, but I need to get these off the needles first. So let me start with my bus stop knitting. So this is in my Jezebel B bag, and this is what I take to the bus stop with me, and I showed this last podcast. And this is knit out of Lane Yarns, Jarwoll Magic, and it is color 7233. I love the way it's knitting up. I was concerned, and I'm still am concerned. It is a single ply. I have a feeling it is going to pill, but I do love the fabric. I think it's going to be super warm, and it's been really easy to knit. So I finished up the heel on Friday, and yesterday we went to see Thor Ragnarok, which by the way was fantastic. I really enjoyed it, but I was able to knit this much of the foot during the movies. I had no drop stitches, I had no split stitches, which I'm really good at splitting the yarn and messing up, but I really am enjoying these. So these are gonna stay. And so this is what I work on when I go down to the bus. The other pair of socks that I showed last time, and I'll quickly show them again, but I'm pretty sure, I haven't gotten that far, I'm pretty sure I'm going to frog these. So this is, let me show you a picture here, the Clark Socks by Jaclyn Salem. I love the pattern, and when I frog these, there's another skein of yarn that I'm going to cake up and start knitting because I do love the pattern. It's just the yarn pattern choice, they do not go together. So this is what I have done. So this is knit out of Regia Tweed in the 98 colorway, and like I was saying last week, I do love the yarn. It's making a very dense fabric. I think as a vanilla sock, it's going to be wonderful. Unfortunately, to do cables with, because the fabric is so dense, it's very hard on my hands. So I'm gonna frog it, and I'm gonna do just a plain vanilla sock with this yarn. Again though, it is a nice dense fabric. It's gonna be super warm for the winter time. They'll be great boot socks. So that is going to be frogged, but I will cast on another pair of the Clark Socks very shortly. However, I started another pair of socks because, you know, Christmas is about 2 months away, and I need to make sure that I have my Christmas socks done in time. So anyways, it's in my Pearl Plum bag, my Patriots. So I am knitting, this is the yarn jar in her, let me put it up, and this is in her Christmas Grouch colorway. And now I do only have the ribbing done so far. So, and I have 2 more rounds and then I'll be done the ribbing, but I do like the way it's striping up so far. So I'm enjoying this, and I can't wait to see how it works up once I get it into just knitting vanilla in the round. And these, again, these are on my Chow-Goo. The other socks too are on Chow-Goo 9-inch circular needles. I actually went and ordered a couple extras. I lost one pair, so you know when you lose one, I felt the need I had to buy 2 to have an extra for backup, but then I ended up casting on. So it's never really an extra with a backup. I end up just casting on extra socks. So anyways, these are my Christmas socks, and I want to get these done fairly quickly because I did promise my boys I was going to knit them socks for Christmas. I don't normally knit a lot of gift knits. When my grandmother was alive, I always knit her something. She always loved anything I knit her. I just feel sometimes that there's so much pressure to hurry up and knit, especially November and December, and I don't enjoy the holidays. It's never relaxing because I have to hurry up and finish this and I have to hurry up and finish that. So I am trying not to knit too many gift knits. And the boys' socks, if I don't get them done on time, I don't get them done on time. They're not going anywhere. I can have them done in January and February and they'll be just as happy. So I'm trying not to put a whole lot of pressure on myself to get things done. But speaking of gift knits, I did promise my mother a few years ago, the first time I dyed yarn, I dyed some with her, so she used to hook rugs, so she has all of the dye from when she used to dye wool for her hooked rugs. So I went over her house, she was showing me how to use the dye, and this is one of the yarns that I dyed up, and this was Wool of the Andes by Knit Picks, and I was not thrilled with the way that it came out, but my mother loved it, so my mom wanted a pair of mittens. It's 2 years now, I figure I really need to get her the pair of mittens. So I am knitting let me find the picture, do I have the picture? Here it is. So it is the Woodstack mittens by Richmond. The pattern's well loved. It's been shoved in a project bag. So anyways, this is just the first one, but I've already gotten past the thumb gusset. And I do like the way it's knitting up actually. So I wasn't overly thrilled when I first dyed it, but I am loving the way it looks now. So I am going to push to get this done for her for Christmas so that I can finally fulfill what I promised her 2 years ago. It's my only Christmas knitting that I want done by Christmas. So, and it is knitting up, it is worsted weight mitten, it's worsted weight wool, so it is knitting up quickly. So hopefully, if I can stop casting things on, I'll get this done quickly. The next thing I've casted on, I do only have 2 more. So the next thing I have casted on are the Paige mitts, and this is a Swan Island pattern. So this is a color work, and I've only done 2 other color work pieces. Both of them were hats. This is not perfect by any means. I am knitting this out of the Swan Island 100% Rambouillet wool in the Blackberry in the Ecru colorway. So here is the Blackberry, and here is the Ecru. So I did soak the Blackberry one in water to make sure it didn't bleed, and it did not bleed at all. So fingers crossed when I block the final items that there'll be no Ecru turning pink. So here is what I have so far. I only have the first mitt done. And again, this is only my 3rd color work project, so I know the stitches are not perfect. I'm having tension issues, which I think is common for color work. Typically I'm an English knitter. I hold the yarn in my right hand and I flick. So I'm holding one in my right hand right now and one in my left hand, and of course with the continental left hand the gauge is much looser, so I'm really trying to be loose with my right hand as well to try and get the gauge even. I don't know how successful I am being, but I am. It looks good. Like I said, I hope when it blocks out even. But I do love the colors, I do love the way it's coming out, so even if it's not perfect, isn't that about what hand knitting is all about? Enjoying the perfect imperfections? So I am enjoying these, and these are knitting up quite quickly when you think of how little time I put into them because of all my other works in progress. So my final work in progress, on November 1st, Kristin Lehrer of Wool and Vine Yarns and the Yarngasm podcast put out her Halfmoon Oracle shawl. And here it is if you have not seen it, which I'm sure everybody has. I loved the Oracle shawl, but I was a little bit intimidated by knitting a full pie shawl. So the second I saw she was doing the Halfmoon one, I jumped right on it. As soon as she announced it was released for purchase, I purchased it. I am, and you may recognize the yarn because I had said I was holding this yarn for the exploration station that I was going to knit. However, when I saw this one released, I decided, here we go. I'm hoping I have these all in frame. I've decided I was putting these together for the Halfmoon Oracle. So the top one, this one here, is by Primrose Yarn Company, and this is her Galaxy colorway. The purple here, this is kind of messy, here we go. The purple is Anzula Squishy in the Fiona colorway. I have to say this is the softest cashmere merino nylon blend. It is super soft. I love it. And then the final one, this is Cascade Heritage Sock, and this is in the Citron colorway. So this is what I have so far. And I am absolutely loving the way this is looking. This is my first time doing brioche. I love the fact that there's no increasing within the brioche rows. And I'm really enjoying it. I do have to say, I have messed up quite a bit. However, I've become very proficient in fixing brioche, in dropping the stitches down and picking them back up. So I think yesterday I spent a good half hour ripping back and picking up many rows. Yeah, good half hour. So I would have been much further along, but I knitted when I should have purled and made a mess. But at least I'm not afraid anymore of brioche, and I'm not afraid of messing up because I know I can fix it. I watched, I don't know whose video on YouTube. I'm going to stick the link to the YouTube video I did watch for picking up and fixing brioche because it was extremely helpful and it was very well done. So anyways, I am enjoying this. This is my last work in progress, which I have enough to work on for the full month, so I won't be casting on anything else for the month of November until I get these items finished. But I'm other than the Clark socks, which I will frog, I am enjoying everything else. So I can't wait to have them done. And it's kind of nice. I've finished 4 sweaters in the last 3 months, so it is kind of nice to work on some smaller projects and get that instant gratification when they're done. So that is it for my works in progress. Okay, so for the things that I have acquired, so before I get to the things I purchased at the Fibre Festival, I did put an online order with Tuft Woolen sock soap. I have the Chai Spice sock soap and it smells so good. I love it. My younger son loves it. He sits there and he sniffs his socks after I wash them and says how much he loves the smell of it. So he's strange. We're all strange. But that's a whole different story. So anyways, she had restocked some of her scents, so I picked up 2 more bars. So I picked up the Espresso Vanilla, and this smells so good. It reminds me of Sunday mornings growing up as a kid. My parents would brew their coffee in the percolator, and my dad used to make these vanilla sugar muffins, and it would smell so good on a Sunday morning to wake up. So this just brings me right back to my childhood. And then the other one I picked up is the Blueberry Lemonade. And this is nice and crisp and clean. Sorry, I'm just sniffing. It smells so good. So that was it for everything I purchased online. So when I went to the Fibre Festival, there's gonna be some crinkling, I'm sorry. I decided I wanted to pick up a sweater's quantity of yarn. But when I got there, I realized for the types of sweaters I wanted to knit, the sweater quantities were gonna be way out of my price range. So I went to one booth, and it was the Nice Knit booth, and this is their Millie pattern. And here's some pictures on the back. And so this takes 2 skeins of fingering weight yarn. So I ended up picking up, this is their Vineyard colorway, and this is 100% superwash merino. So I picked up 2 of these. I love this color. I had a couple years ago a sweater, a store-bought sweater out of this colorway, and I wore it all the time. And then my husband shrunk it. And then it couldn't even fit one of my boys, it was so small. So luckily enough, my husband doesn't touch my hand knit things. And even if he did, this is superwash, so hopefully it wouldn't shrink. But I can't wait to get this on the needles and have another sweater out of this color. It's so soft. So this is one of the things that my mother-in-law will gift me for Christmas. And then the other thing I picked up for her to gift me is, this is the Once Upon a Corgi. And this is her 75 superwash Corriedale and 25% nylon yarn. And this is in Something Sinister, and this is beautiful. I have never felt anything like this before. It's so soft, but at the same time it feels so sturdy. It would make a beautiful pair of socks, but I almost feel like it would be wasted. Do you like me? I'm just gonna squish and hug all the yarn. So I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with this yet, but I still have another almost 2 months before I get it back to figure out what to do. So that is what I picked up from my mother-in-law to give me for Christmas. So then I also picked up a couple skeins of yarn for myself. So I went to the Fish Belly Fiberworks and I picked up this color, and this is her Zombie Christmas. I absolutely love this. This is in her 75-25 superwash merino nylon. Love the color. None of these I know what I'm going to do with yet. I'll figure it out. So I picked up that. And then the last skein of yarn I picked up was, this is On the Round, and this is Time Traveler, and this is in her 80-20 base. And again, just, you know what? I'm looking at all these yarns. I must have had a color scheme going. Look at that. Obviously, I was drawn to the same exact colors this time around. So, but anyways, this is on her 80-20, and I do love this. This, I think, will be a pair of socks. These are going to be nice and squishy and soft. So that is it for my yarn. And then I went to the Patrinkles booth, and she does these cute wooden buttons and stitch markers, and so I picked up these stitch markers, cute little sweaters. And then I picked up, she had some seconds, so they were 25% off, so I picked up this knitting ruler for gauge swatches, which hopefully will come in handy. I'm very klutzy, I'm not very graceful. Normally when I knit swatches, I struggle with trying to lay the swatch out flat while holding down the tape measure flat while trying to count the stitches, so hopefully this will come in very handy, so I can't wait to use that. And then lastly, this cute little guy. He needed to come home with me. I don't even know what booth I got him out of. They didn't give me a card, and I kind of stuck all of the things into one bag. So I don't even know, but my little alpaca buddy. So I think he is going to be an ornament, and then I think I'm going to put him on my mantle when he is not hanging on my tree, and I love him. He's got his little blanket on him, little Peruvian alpaca. He's got such a cute little face. So that was it for the Fibre Festival. So it was nice there. I wish I had a little more time to walk around, but I was glad I was able to get out there and just kind of enjoy and see what everybody has. And I think next year I'm going to Rhinebeck. Without a doubt, I'm going to make it to Rhinebeck. I think what I'll do is tuck away $10 a week into my Rhinebeck fund, so I have some spending money so I can go ahead and pick up that sweaters quantity, a nice woolen worsted. Thinking I want a worsted Cormo sweaters quantity. So I'm gonna save up for that now that I know what I want and what I'll be looking for. And so that is about it, and there wasn't much that went on to talk about. I think I already mentioned I went to see Thor in the theaters, and I knit on my sock, and great movie. It was funny, it was entertaining, there was action, it was just kind of everything wrapped into one, and really, really enjoyed it. And then other than that, we've been kind of laying low between soccer games and practicing and work, and these next 2 weeks are going to be very hectic with me working full time. But then after 2 weeks of working full time, I'll be home, and it'll be Thanksgiving, and I will film a couple days before Thanksgiving. So I hope you guys have a great 2 weeks ahead, and I will talk to you later. Bye.